Morarji Desai became the Prime Minister, but under his leadership, the Janata Party government couldn't last long. Why? Because of internal differences. Why internal differences? Because it was made up of too many parties. Numerous opposition parties had come under one umbrella, Janata Party. Charan Singh succeeded him. Charan Singh was the Prime Minister after Morarji Desai. But even his government was a short-lived one. Once again, elections were conducted in 1980 and the Congress Party under the leadership of Indira Gandhi came to power again. When the people came to know that no other party apart from the Congress is able to give a stable government, in 1980 they elected the Congress Party back to power. That finishes us with the paragraph on 1970s. We are coming nearer towards the 1980s. During this decade, the Indian political system faced many new challenges. The Sikhs in Punjab demanded an independent state of Khalistan and began a movement which went on to become violent and destructive. They wanted an independent country for their own. They did not want to be a part of India. Pakistan had lent its support to this movement. Our neighbor country, our enemy Pakistan, was supporting them in their demand against India. The Indian army was sent into the Golden Temple at Amritsar, a holy shrine of the Sikhs, in 1984 to evict, to remove the terrorists who had allegedly taken shelter there. The government was doubting that the terrorists have taken shelter in the Golden Temple and hence the Indian army was sent there to remove them. One of the Sikh bodyguards in Indira Gandhi's personal security assassinated her, killed her. Why? Because he had felt bad that the government had sent Indian army to their holy shrine. During this period, an organization called ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam, also called as ULFA, carried on a major movement against the government in northeast India. Right after Indira Gandhi's assassination in 1984, her son Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. He tried to make several reforms, several changes, several advancements in the field of Indian economy and that of science and technology. He took the lead in solving the issues of the Tamil minority in Sri Lanka. Now see, here we need to understand, we need to remember that Rajiv Gandhi was the one who had brought in the cable network, the telephonic lines. Before this cable network, before the telephonic lines, we were dependent on trunk calls, but his reforms brought the STD, ISD, PCO, the long distance calling, easily to our houses. The second point which we are informed here is we were trying to solve the problems of Tamil minority in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a small country below India. There the Tamils which are in minority were facing problems. Rajiv Gandhi promoted the idea of a united Sri Lanka with internal autonomy of the Tamil community. He wanted the Tamil community to have its own powers. But his efforts in this regard proved to be in vain, proved to be a total waste of energy, time and opportunity. He faced a lot of criticism in the context of corruption that took place during a defense equipment deal. People were criticizing him because people thought, there were doubts in people's minds that he was involved in corruption during a defense equipment deal, especially the purchase of long-range cannons from a foreign company called Bofors. The Bofors guns are very good in quality. They are very effective in warding off the enemy. They are used even today, but the purchase of this particular gun from Bofors was cast under doubt. Political corruption became a crucial issue, an important issue in the general elections that followed, and the Congress party was defeated because people of India were brought under the impression that this particular government is corrupt. Several political parties formed a coalition. Again, they came together and formed a common group called the Janata Dal, and Vishwanath Pratap Singh became the next Prime Minister of India, which means Janata Dal won the elections and Vishwanath Pratap Singh was the Prime Minister. The policy for providing reservations for other backward classes, OBC, is considered to be his most important contribution. The reservation was started during his tenure. He could not continue as Prime Minister due to internal differences in the party. Again, this was a coalition party. This was made by various parties coming together, and hence the government did not last long. In 1990, Chandrasekhar became the Prime Minister of India. His government was also short-lived. And in 1991, during the election campaign, the terrorist organization in Sri Lanka, LTTE, which stands for Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, assassinated, killed Rajiv Gandhi. Why did they kill? Because Rajiv Gandhi had tried to interfere in the problems that the Tamils were facing in Sri Lanka. And due to some misunderstanding or due to the impression of the terrorists, he was the culprit and he was killed. Towards the end of the decade of 1980s, the unrest in Jammu and Kashmir had begun. The terrorist activities there forced the Kashmiri Pandits to leave the valley. Kashmir is a Muslim-dominated area. There, the Kashmiri Pandits who were staying there since many years started facing problems, and this problem grew serious day by day, and today it has taken the form of terrorism. They are not allowed to stay there. They had to vacate the place and go out of Jammu and Kashmir. Even today, they are fighting, they are requesting the government to make arrangements for them to return to their place. Now, the changes after 1991. Before starting this, anyone having any issues, questions, doubts on whatever we have done till now? Any queries? No. Okay. Alright. Do you want me to continue still further and finish this chapter? Is everyone ready to let me go ahead and complete this chapter? Do you want me to continue? Okay. Alright. The changes after 1991. The year 1991 is held to be very important in the history of the world as well as India. Why? Because the Soviet Union, the USSR, disintegrated, broken down into several different small countries, and the Cold War came to an end. Cold War is a civil war, a civil unrest where people within a country are not happy with the government, and in Soviet Union this resulted into USSR breaking down into several different countries. Also, in India, the government under the leadership of Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao started many changes in the Indian economy. During this period, the Ram Janmabhoomi and Babri Mosque issue at Ayodhya came to the forefront. The result that we saw in the previous months, where Ayodhya Janmabhoomi, the Supreme Court had decided that a temple should come up in that area. This problem was started in 1991, where the Babri Mosque was demolished. In the elections conducted between 1996 and 1999, no political party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha. This resulted in 3 governments in a short span of time. Those led by Prime Ministers Atal Bihari Vajpayee, H.D. Deve Gowda and Inder Kumar Gujral were amongst them. These 3 governments did not last long. Finally, in 1999, the National Democratic Alliance (NDA) came to power under the flag of Bharatiya Janata Party, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee became India's Prime Minister. National Democratic Alliance (NDA) is not the name of a single political party. It is the name of the coalition where different parties have come under a single umbrella, with the Bharatiya Janata Party being the major one. Atal Bihari Vajpayee tried to establish a dialogue with Pakistan to solve the India-Pakistan border issue, but was not successful. India conducted a number of nuclear tests in 1998 and declared herself as an atomic power. We declared to the world that we now have atomic bombs, nuclear bombs. And in 1999, there was another war between India and Pakistan in the Kargil region. Why? Over the Kashmir issue. What was the result? India defeated Pakistan in this war as well.